Basically, the Action Agenda is all about expressing young people's opinions about matters within the Northwest. So that's sort of things like finances or their education about certain things, especially to do with sort of citizenship and your life skills, basically.
I think one of the things we need to do to overcome the negative images of people in the press is to focus very much on the positive things. There's a lot that young people do that doesn't get recognised.
What we hope to achieve with the Action Agenda is basically to make sure that the government know our opinions on all of these things, so then they can make the decisions which will influence our education about those things. Also, hopefully, if those things come about, it should help young people feel empowered to actually influence politics.
Chancellor of the Exchequer, MP for Tapping, Mr George Osborne. Does anybody have a first question?
I've only just started learning about politics and citizenship like this year, and I was wondering if you think that younger kids, like primary school or anything, should start learning more in politics and money.
Yeah, I think we could be doing much more of that, and more of it in primary schools as well as secondary schools, more of it actually for adults as well, good financial education, so people can look after their finances and through their life. On citizenship and politics, I think it's a good thing. It's not fun. When I was at school, it wasn't taught really. It's been a relatively new thing. I think it has been a good thing that people think more about being a citizen. Yes, there's lots we could do in our schools to engage people more. There's lots we could do in our community.
If you remove tuition-free caps, you're just going to get sort of an elitist society where people go to university will be earning more, and those who don't, well, they'll just be stuck at the bottom rung of the ladder.
Yeah, no, I think that is absolutely what you've got to avoid, and I think there are two answers to that. The first is, coming from a background where you don't have very much money should never be a bar. So you've got to have bursary and maintenance schemes that pick up and help people who feel they don't have the family income. And of course, even the current tuition fee system, you're never asked to pay it back until you're earning more than £15,000 a year. And then you pay it back over a long period of time. And then the second answer is this: don't assume that university is the only form of further education. And there are many, many millions of people for whom actually further education, technical education, a college-based education is actually probably a lot better use of their time and money.
I'd like to know what your stance is on the fact that education is the key, but without extra funding, education is not.
Well, look, I didn't invent these debts, right? This country is more indebted than any other country in the world. We borrow more than any other country. You can't think of another country which has a higher budget deficit than we do, right? The budget deficit being the gap between what we're raising in taxes and what we're spending. And if we don't deal with it, there'll be no jobs for anyone.
The bank is still getting incredibly sized bonuses, and there has not so far been a single step to cut those.
Yeah. What I have done, didn't exist 5 months ago, is I've introduced a bank tax there, and they're now paying a tax to help deal with the deficit. A permanent bank tax is going to be there every year. You can legitimately ask the banks to pay more, and we are.
He said that he was looking forward to putting the nail in the coffin of the development agency. That's an organisation my mother works for. Is this economics or is this just ideology?
But with the development agency, the Northwest Development Agency, what we're replacing that with are a series of smaller development agencies.
If you're cutting youth services, that's damaging for a lot of young people here that rely on things like that. And with your government talking about the big society, you need young people to be connected and involved.
Well, I would, absolutely. I would want actually more engagement with the charities, the voluntary groups, organisations like this, and not assume that everything has to be delivered by some huge government bureaucracy.
Mr. Osborne, thank you very much. Thank you.
I thought today went really well. I think George took a lot of ideas from us, and I'm hoping that he'll definitely read through the Action Agenda we've given them a lot to think about regarding finance and education especially, and a bit on politics too. I think that the government should take into account what we have said, because at the end of the day we're the next generation and we're going to be the ones who have to help pull through this difficult time.
They develop quite well, and I'm actually happy that I won turned up. So they were quite well, and I like it was interesting as well. I was looking forward to the whole event.
The key point is young people need to be heard, and I think with the mediums available to them, with technology and multimedia platforms, I think again another opportunity being able to engage, motivate and inspire active citizens that will not only vote but actually be participative in how they see those votes, representative of those that they do elect, actually delivering.
I think what it demonstrated is that people in power can, through projects like this, listen to young people and their voice can be heard. That matters. If we're going to have a future created by young people, they must feel that they have some ownership of it, they're involved.
I think the question here is, how can young people make their contribution? And look, there are ways of doing it through this project, through the Youth Parliament, and of course through what young people do with their lives, the educations they have and the jobs that they go on to. But I think sometimes in politics, the young people's voice isn't always heard, and it was great to have it heard today.